Hi folks, welcome to the Restoration Couple. Today's video is all about our food wall. This vertical garden we've made from some standard guttering right outside our kitchen door. Stick around and we'll show you how we did it. So this project is one of those that's just sat in the back of my mind for a long time. And I already had these gutters. They had been destined to create sort of flower beds, I guess, or flower planters at the top of a wall in the garden. And we never got around to doing that. We're going to go a different route. So they've been lying around for a year, and I decided it was worth sticking them on the wall and growing something in them. Now I'm just using simple plugs and stainless steel screws just to hold everything in place, and it's plenty strong enough. The guttering itself is more of a commercial guttering. When I was on the hunt for it, you really need to be thinking about how much space, the capacity of it. So these are 150 OG, I think, or 150 guttering, and that gives enough depth for there to be a decent amount of compost in there. And my original plan was going to be to do an aquaponics setup here, which is when you grow everything in water and they flow between each other. And for that reason, I haven't actually drilled into the guttering in anywhere for drainage. I'm going to be doing it in the ends. So if I do change my mind and I want to change to that system in the future, I can use the same stuff. The guttering itself, I think, was made by, I think it was a Scandinavian firm. I think it's called Galeco or something along those lines. But there's quite a few brands around using a similar sort of shape and model. Yes, it's more expensive than plastic, but like I said, it's a much bigger capacity. So after getting the first one in and solid and level, I measured up, worked out where I wanted my top one, and then just divided that in two to pick the middle point. So all I'm really going off is my center run of brackets. Everything's leveled from those. Now the brackets themselves you can adjust up and down before you put the final screws in. So in the future, if I want to have a slope on there to allow the water to go along, drop to the next one in marble run style, then I can do that. For now, all I've done is just put a very slight slope on it. Right, now we're almost ready for planting. Now I'd started off a load of plugs in soil blocks around 6 weeks ago or so, and as you can see they are pretty big plants already. So it was a decent start. It's given us a head start, and what I'll be doing is planting in between those the next batch, so we've got a rolling harvest. All we did for drainage, I overthought this really, but all we did is just put a gravel bed in the bottom, a bit like you would in the bottom of a plant pot, and then we'll be putting drainage holes in the end caps. My other option was to put the gravel in the bottom and then separate that from the compost with either like a mesh grid, a fine mesh, or some landscape fabric, weed fabric. That would stop the soil clogging up the gravel, and we can probably do that in the future, but for the time being I just needed the job done. With the majority of the plants in, I then just backfilled around them to make sure there was a decent amount of compost, bearing in mind that when you start watering, all of that starts settling down and you may end up topping up anyway. Right, spread these buckets out. Now, go!
With our hands?
Yeah. Right, so what's going on? Have you found the strawberries? Now, can we get these two cucumbers apart? You need to make a hole in the middle of yours. Quick. Right?
Right in.
You say a whole strawberry? Cheeky. So plenty of watering to settle them in. The red lettuce tend to have smaller roots for some reason, so they wilted down, but hopefully they'll pick up over a day or two. Also, if you're planting, it's best to plant from the top down, and then you don't risk dropping bits of compost down into your leaves below. But normally you're going to be planting smaller plants or even seeds in here, so it's not so much of a problem. So with a couple of days of just hand watering, everything seems to have survived being transplanted, so that's all fine. But what we're going to do in the future is connect up an automatic system for drip watering them, and that's going to be tied in with hopefully some window boxes which I'm going to fabricate for the front of the house, and get all that linked into some sort of timer system. If anyone's got any tips or advice on systems that we can use, then that would be great. We're going to punch through and bring out a garden tap out here as well. So any advice or suggestions for that, we're going to look into that. Drainage, we'll keep an eye on. I don't think it's going to get waterlogged. We've got a bit of a slope to the ends, and I've now drilled those end caps, so there's no chance that anything's going to fill up too much. But there we go, another little food it yourself project. If you haven't watched other videos, we've got the whole garden farm set up out in the back garden, which is kind of a veg garden and the poultry, and there's a few videos there, and I think there's a playlist which exists. Apart from that, that is it. Remember, our t-shirts are now available. I'll put a link down below. They may even appear below this video if that's all set up now. But thank you for watching. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this one, and then hopefully next week we're going to be taking a look at decking, or even the end of this week if I get around to getting the editing done. And remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.